Working from home, a dream job or a hidden trap? The reality of remote work in 2026. Hello everyone, I'm Alex Montgomery, and welcome back to English Talks. Today we're talking about one of the biggest transformations in modern work, working from home. A few years ago, the idea of working from your kitchen table, your living room, or even a beachside apartment sounded like a luxury reserved for freelancers and entrepreneurs. Most employees woke up early, got dressed, fought traffic, squeezed into crowded trains, and spent hours commuting every week. Then something happened that changed the world. The COVID-19 pandemic forced millions of people to leave their offices almost overnight. Companies that had spent decades insisting employees needed to be physically present suddenly discovered that much of their work could continue remotely. What started as an emergency measure quickly became a global experiment unlike anything we had ever seen. Now, several years later, the experiment is over. The results are in, and they tell a fascinating story. Some people say working from home has improved their lives dramatically. Others claim it has damaged workplace culture, increased isolation, and blurred the boundaries between work and personal life. So who's right? Is remote work the future? Or has the dream started to reveal its hidden costs? Let's explore the evidence. To understand where we are today, we first need to understand how much the workplace has changed. Before 2020, remote work was relatively uncommon in many industries. While technology companies and some international organizations embraced flexible arrangements, most employees still worked primarily from offices. Managers often believed that productivity depended on supervision. Many executives feared that if employees worked from home, they would become distracted, lazy, or disconnected from company goals. Then the pandemic forced organizations to test those assumptions. Within months, millions of workers moved online. Meetings became video calls. Conference rooms became Zoom rooms. Office desks became dining tables. For the first time, companies had access to large-scale evidence about what happened when people worked remotely. The findings surprised many business leaders. Instead of collapsing, productivity often remained stable or even improved. Many employees reported that they could concentrate better without constant interruptions. Others appreciated the flexibility to organize their work around their personal lives. The traditional relationship between work and location suddenly seemed less important than anyone had imagined. Today, remote work has become a permanent feature of the global economy. The question is no longer whether remote work is possible. The question is how to make it work effectively. One of the biggest arguments in favor of remote work is productivity. When critics first opposed working from home, they often assumed employees would spend their days watching television, running errands, or avoiding their responsibilities. Yet many studies have found the opposite. Without daily commutes, unnecessary meetings, and office distractions, many workers are able to focus more effectively on important tasks. Think about your own experience. How many times have you been interrupted while trying to concentrate? A colleague stops by your desk. A spontaneous meeting appears on your calendar. Someone asks a quick question that turns into a 20-minute conversation. While collaboration is valuable, constant interruptions can make deep work difficult. Remote environments often allow employees to control their surroundings more effectively. For tasks that require concentration, this can create significant advantages. Imagine a software developer writing complex code. Imagine a financial analyst reviewing large datasets. Imagine a writer preparing an important report. These professionals often need long periods of uninterrupted focus. Working from home can provide exactly that. But productivity isn't just about work output. It's also about energy. And this brings us to one of the most important benefits of remote work: eliminating the commute. For decades, commuting was considered a normal part of professional life. People accepted spending 1, 2, or even 3 hours every day traveling to and from work. Yet when researchers began examining commuting more closely, they discovered something remarkable. Long commutes are often associated with lower life satisfaction, higher stress levels, and reduced overall well-being. Imagine spending 10 hours every week sitting in traffic. Over a year, that's more than 500 hours. That's equivalent to more than 20 full days. 20 days that could be spent exercising, learning new skills, spending time with family, or simply resting. Many remote workers describe this recovered time as one of the greatest benefits of flexible work. A parent can have breakfast with their children. An employee can exercise before work. Someone can prepare healthier meals instead of eating fast food during a rushed lunch break. These changes may seem small individually, but over months and years they can significantly improve quality of life. And this leads to another major advantage: work-life balance. For years, employees have struggled to balance professional responsibilities with personal commitments. Parents have had to coordinate childcare schedules. Caregivers have had to manage family obligations. Students have had to fit education around work. Remote work offers a level of flexibility that traditional office environments often cannot provide. Instead of structuring life around work, people can structure work around life. Of course, this doesn't mean working fewer hours. In many cases, remote employees work just as hard. The difference is that they often gain more control over when and how they work. Control is important because it influences stress. When people feel they have autonomy over their schedules, they often experience greater satisfaction and lower levels of anxiety. This helps explain why many employees strongly resist returning to the office full-time. Once people experience flexibility, they are often reluctant to give it up. In fact, for many workers, flexibility has become almost as important as salary. A growing number of job seekers actively search for employers that offer hybrid or remote options. Some candidates even reject higher-paying positions if those jobs require daily office attendance. This represents a major cultural shift. A generation ago, prestigious offices symbolized professional success. Today, many professionals see flexibility as the ultimate workplace benefit. However, every advantage comes with trade-offs, and remote work is no exception. One of the most common challenges reported by remote employees is isolation. Human beings are social creatures. Whether we realize it or not, many of our daily interactions happen at work. We chat with colleagues before meetings. We share ideas over coffee. We celebrate achievements together. We build friendships that extend beyond professional relationships. When employees work remotely full-time, many of these interactions disappear. Video calls can facilitate communication, but they rarely replicate the spontaneous conversations that occur naturally in physical workplaces. Over time, some workers begin to feel disconnected. They may feel less attached to their teams. They may miss opportunities to learn from experienced colleagues. They may experience loneliness despite being connected online all day. This challenge appears particularly significant for younger professionals. Imagine starting your first job entirely remotely. You never meet your coworkers in person. You never observe how experienced employees interact. You never develop informal relationships that can help accelerate your career. For many young professionals, the office serves as a learning environment as much as a workplace. Without that environment, career development can become more difficult. Another challenge involves communication. Many people assume that modern technology has solved communication problems. After all, we have video conferencing, instant messaging, email, and collaborative platforms. Yet communication remains one of the biggest obstacles in remote organizations. Why? Because digital communication lacks many of the signals we rely on in face-to-face interactions. Body language becomes harder to interpret. Tone can be misunderstood. Simple messages may create confusion. Small misunderstandings can grow into larger problems when teams rarely meet in person. Successful remote organizations recognize this challenge. They invest heavily in communication systems, clear expectations, and regular check-ins. Remote work doesn't reduce the need for communication. In many ways, it increases it. Perhaps the most surprising downside of remote work is burnout. At first glance, this seems contradictory. How can someone experience burnout while working from home? The answer lies in boundaries. When work and home occupy the same physical space, separating them becomes difficult. Many remote employees begin checking emails earlier in the morning. They continue responding to messages later in the evening. Without realizing it, the workday expands. Gradually, the distinction between personal time and professional time disappears. Some employees find themselves constantly connected. Their phones become office extensions. Their homes become workplaces. Their evenings become opportunities to finish one more task. Over time, this can lead to exhaustion. Ironically, the same flexibility that makes remote work attractive can also make it difficult to disconnect. The most successful remote workers understand the importance of creating boundaries. They establish dedicated workspaces. They maintain regular schedules. They take breaks. Most importantly, they know when to stop working. These habits may seem simple, but they are essential for long-term success. As we move deeper into 2026, one conclusion is becoming increasingly clear. The future probably isn't fully remote, and it probably isn't fully office-based either. Instead, the future appears to be hybrid. Hybrid work combines the strengths of both models. Employees gain flexibility, autonomy, and reduced commuting time. Organizations maintain collaboration, mentorship, and team culture. Rather than asking where people should work all the time, hybrid models focus on where people should work for specific tasks. Need deep concentration. Work from home. Need collaboration and brainstorming. Meet in person. Need professional development. Spend time with colleagues. This balanced approach may represent the best of both worlds. And perhaps that is the ultimate lesson of the remote work revolution. The debate was never really about offices versus homes. It was about trust. It was about flexibility. It was about recognizing that productive work can happen in different places and different ways. The companies that thrive in the coming years may not be the ones with the biggest offices. They may be the ones that create environments where employees can perform at their best, wherever that happens to be. But there is another force transforming the future of work, and it may be even more influential than remote work itself. Artificial intelligence. Over the last few years, AI tools have rapidly entered the workplace. What once seemed like science fiction is now part of daily operations in thousands of companies. Writers use AI to draft content. Programmers use AI to generate code. Marketers use AI to analyze customer behavior. Financial analysts use AI to process enormous datasets in seconds. As AI becomes more powerful, many experts believe it will accelerate the growth of remote work. Why? Because AI reduces the importance of physical location even further. If employees can collaborate through digital platforms and use AI-powered tools to enhance productivity, the need to gather in the same building becomes less critical. Imagine a marketing team spread across 5 countries. One member lives in New York. Another lives in London. A third works from Berlin. A fourth operates from Singapore. And a fifth works remotely from a small town in Canada. 20 years ago, coordinating such a team would have been extremely difficult. Today, it is routine. Cloud-based software, video conferencing platforms, and AI assistants make international collaboration faster and more efficient than ever before. This trend is creating new opportunities for both companies and workers. Employers can access global talent pools. Workers can apply for jobs without relocating. Geography is becoming less important than skills. However, this transformation also creates new challenges. Competition is no longer limited to local candidates. A remote worker may compete with professionals from around the world. This means that continuous learning is becoming increasingly important. The employees who thrive in the future will likely be those who can adapt, learn new technologies, and develop skills that complement AI rather than compete with it. Now let's compare remote work in different regions of the world. Although remote work is a global phenomenon, its adoption varies significantly between countries. In the United States, remote and hybrid work remain widely accepted, particularly in technology, finance, consulting, and professional services. Many American companies have adopted flexible work arrangements permanently. Employees frequently rank flexibility among their most important workplace priorities. In Europe, the situation is more diverse. Countries such as the Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, and Finland have embraced flexible work arrangements at relatively high rates. These countries often emphasize work-life balance and employee well-being. Meanwhile, other nations have moved more cautiously toward hybrid models. Cultural expectations also play a role. In some countries, face-to-face interaction remains highly valued. Managers may prefer direct supervision. Employees may view office attendance as a sign of commitment. As a result, the future of work is likely to vary across regions rather than follow a single global model. Interestingly, remote work has also begun to reshape cities. For decades, major metropolitan areas attracted workers because they concentrated jobs in one location. People accepted expensive housing and long commutes because opportunities were limited elsewhere. Remote work is changing that equation. Some professionals are leaving expensive cities and moving to smaller communities. Others are relocating closer to family members. Some are even becoming digital nomads, working while traveling between countries. This shift has important economic consequences. Smaller cities benefit from new residents and increased spending. Large urban centers face new questions about office space utilization. Commercial real estate markets are adapting. Businesses that relied heavily on office workers are adjusting to changing patterns of demand. The ripple effects extend far beyond individual employees. Remote work is reshaping entire communities. Of course, not every profession can be performed remotely. This is an important point that often gets overlooked. When discussions about remote work dominate headlines, it is easy to forget that millions of workers perform essential jobs that require physical presence. Healthcare professionals, construction workers, manufacturing employees, emergency responders, transportation workers, hospitality staff, retail employees. These professions remain critical to society. A nurse cannot treat patients remotely. A firefighter cannot respond to emergencies from home. A construction crew cannot build infrastructure through video calls. As a result, the benefits of remote work are not distributed equally across the workforce. This reality raises important questions about fairness and opportunity. How can societies ensure that flexibility benefits a broad range of workers rather than only certain professions? Some companies are experimenting with creative solutions. Others are investing in employee wellness programs, flexible scheduling, and additional benefits for on-site workers. The goal is not necessarily to make every job remote. The goal is to create healthier and more sustainable working environments for everyone. Let's talk about leadership. Managing a remote team requires different skills than managing an office-based team. In traditional workplaces, managers often relied on visibility. They could observe who arrived early. They could see who stayed late. They could monitor activity directly. Remote environments make this approach less effective. Instead, successful leaders focus on outcomes. What matters is not how many hours someone appears busy. What matters is whether objectives are achieved. This shift can be transformative. Employees gain greater autonomy. Managers focus on performance rather than presence. Trust becomes a central component of organizational culture. However, trust must be accompanied by accountability. High-performing remote organizations establish clear goals, measurable expectations, and regular communication. Without structure, flexibility can quickly become confusion. The best remote teams understand this balance. Now let's imagine the workplace of 2030. What might it look like? While no one can predict the future with complete certainty, several trends appear likely. First, hybrid work will probably remain the dominant model for many knowledge-based professions. Second, artificial intelligence will continue automating routine tasks. Third, employees will increasingly prioritize flexibility when evaluating job opportunities. Fourth, organizations will invest more heavily in digital collaboration tools. And fifth, workplaces will become more personalized. Rather than forcing everyone into identical schedules, companies may offer multiple work arrangements based on employee needs and job requirements. Some people thrive in offices. Others perform best remotely. Many prefer a combination of both. The future may involve recognizing these differences rather than imposing a single solution. Perhaps the most important lesson from the remote work revolution is that productivity and well-being are not mutually exclusive. For many years, organizations assumed they had to choose between employee satisfaction and business performance. Recent evidence suggests that this assumption may be incorrect. Employees who experience flexibility often report greater engagement. Engaged employees frequently produce better results. Better results contribute to stronger organizations. In other words, supporting employees and achieving business goals may be more compatible than previously believed. But there is one final question we should consider. What does success actually mean? For decades, professional success was often measured by visible symbols. A large office, corner desk, prestigious address, a long commute to a major corporate headquarters. Today, many people are redefining success. Success may mean having dinner with your family every evening. It may mean exercising regularly. It may mean reducing stress. It may mean living in a community you love rather than near an office building. It may mean having greater control over your time. Remote work has encouraged millions of people to reconsider their priorities. Not everyone has reached the same conclusion. Some miss the office environment. Some prefer daily social interaction. Some enjoy clear separation between work and home. Others would never willingly return to a traditional 5-day commute. And that's perfectly normal. There is no universal solution. Different people thrive under different conditions. The real achievement of the remote work revolution may not be proving that everyone should work from home. Instead, it may be proving that flexibility matters. People perform best when they have options. Organizations perform best when they trust talented employees. And societies perform best when work supports human well-being rather than undermining it. As we move forward into an increasingly digital world, these lessons will become even more important. Technology will continue evolving. Artificial intelligence will continue advancing. Workplaces will continue changing. But one thing is likely to remain constant. People will continue searching for meaningful work, healthy lives, and a sense of balance. The future of work is not simply a story about technology. It is a story about people. It is a story about how we choose to spend our time. It is a story about what we value. And ultimately, it is a story about the kind of lives we want to build. Thank you for joining me for this deep dive into the reality of remote work in 2026. I hope this discussion has given you a clearer understanding of both the opportunities and the challenges shaping the modern workplace. Now I'd like to hear from you. Do you prefer working from home? Do you prefer working in the office? Or do you think hybrid work offers the best balance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences help make these conversations richer and more meaningful. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might find it useful. I'm Alex Montgomery, and this has been English Talks. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and take care.